Hi, we're the Fine Brothers.
Consider yourselves warned.
Get in your grounder makeup and try not to get floated.
We're about to spoil the first 2 seasons of The 100.
You'll be all caught up for Season 3 on January 21st after watching this recap in one take in under 9 minutes.
Starting now.
Welcome to the distant future where Earth has been devastated by nuclear war.
The only remaining humans live in a combined international space station called the Ark.
On the Ark, even minor crimes get you floated or killed when you are shot out of an airlock.
The only way not to die for crimes is to be under 18.
The show begins with 100 juvenile inmates being sent to Earth to see if it's livable because it turns out the Ark is soon going to run out of oxygen, so they need a plan B.
But only senior leadership knows, and they're trying to keep it a secret.
Back to the 100!
Meet Clark Griffin.
Daughters of the Ark's chief medical officer, Abby.
Clark is surprised to see her ex-best friend Wells, son of the Ark's leader, Chancellor Jaha.
Clark believes Wells ratted at her father who had discovered the Ark's low oxygen and got floated,
which also led to her arrest for treason.
The 100 discover that Earth is now livable!
Except for the occasional acid fog and mutated animals.
Let's meet more of the 100!
There's wisecracking and dreamy Finn.
No, not that Finn, this Finn.
Best buds the geeky Jasper and Monty.
The hot-headed Murphy who seems out for himself.
Octavia.
Who was locked away after being discovered living most of her life under the floor for room due to being an illegal second child.
And Bellamy.
Octavia's brother who isn't part of the 100 inmates who stowed away.
Who becomes the self-appointed leader of the group.
On the way from their camp to find supplies at a place called Mount Weather, Jasper is hit with a spear and disappears.
Wait, they aren't alone?
Back on the Ark, Chancellor Jaha has been shot, but ultimately survives.
Back on Earth, Jasper is rescued.
He had been taken by tribe-like humans who survived the nuclear war who they call grounders.
Back at their camp, Bellamy convinces some of the 100 to remove their bracelets the Ark has been using to track them, so the Ark will think Earth is unlivable.
A worried Abby recruits mechanic Raven to get to the ground to see what's going on.
Councilman Kane, finds out, and Abby gets arrested, so she has Raven head to Earth alone.
Back on Earth, Clark finds out it was her mother and not Wells who ratted at her father.
However, Charlotte,
a troubled 13-year-old girl whose parents were killed by Jaha,
secretly stabs and kills Wells after misinterpreting what Bellamy told her about stopping her nightmares.
R.I.P. Wells.
Murphy gets blamed for Wells' death and is nearly hung.
However, Charlotte confesses, causing Murphy to lead a revolt to find her, but after she is cornered, deep with guilt, jumps off a cliff.
A child committed suicide? This show gets dark.
R.I.P. Charlotte.
Bellamy angrily banishes Murphy for the whole ordeal.
Finn and Clark run off in frustration, but it leads to them bonding, then having sex.
Earth sex.
Raven reaches the ground and Bellamy reaches her pod first, removing the radio, but why?
Turns out to get a ticket to Earth, Bellamy made a deal and shot Jaha.
He worries that he'll be executed if the Ark comes to Earth.
Clark and Finn reach the pod and Raven embraces Finn?
Turns out Raven is Finn's longtime girlfriend.
Love triangle drama.
Raven tells him that the Ark plans to sacrifice 300 people to save oxygen.
They plan to fire flare rockets showing the Ark they are still alive, but it's too late.
R.I.P. 300 Arkers.
Upon seeing the flares, the Ark knows the 100 are alive.
Meanwhile, some of the 100, including Octavia, get attacked by grounders, but she gets saved.
Turns out one of the grounders has a hots for her and wants to keep her safe, but her friends arrive and capture her.
Raven finds a way to communicate with the Ark, and they begin preparations for Earth.
Raven also finds out about Finn and Clark, which ultimately leads to them breaking up.
Back at the camp, Octavia gains the trust of the captured grounder who calls himself Lincoln.
Who also turns out can speak English along with all the other grounders, and she frees him.
Linktavia! Let the shipping begin!
Finn tracks Lincoln down with the idea to make a peace treaty.
When Clark talks to the Ark, she convinces Jaha to pardon the 100.
Which includes Bellamy in exchange for ratting out who was behind the assassination attempt.
On the Ark during Unity Day,
which is the celebration of the joining of the orbiting space stations, a bomb explodes.
Turns out it's from former Chancellor Diana's group who take over the dropship, which crash lands on Earth and makes it impossible for the survivors to escape.
R.I.P. Diana and her crew.
The camp send the party to a bridge where Lincoln had set up a peace meeting with Anya,
a grounder leader,
but it fails, and later Clark and Finn get captured.
Back on the Ark, Jaha realizes they have to use the Ark itself as a dropship to Earth.
Jaha sacrifices himself by staying on board to manually allow them to drop.
R.I.P. Jaha.
Not so fast, he actually survives.
Clark and Finn are said to be killed, but the executioner turns out to be Lincoln.
They take off through a mind network filled with Reapers.
Cannibalistic, feral-like humans.
And Lincoln draws them away, allowing Clark and Finn to escape and sets up the battle.
It's grounders versus the 100.
Many of the 100 retreat into the dropship and lock themselves in.
But not before Anya leaps in.
They activate a fireball Raven rig, killing everyone outside, including potentially Finn and Bellamy.
They murdered hundreds of people, if not more. This show is intense.
As the 100 emerge, gas grenades drop at their feet and they all pass out.
Clark wakes up trapped in a hospital room?
Season 2!
Clark discovers she is inside Mount Weather.
Also, there are 47 other members of the 100, including Jasper and Monty there.
Mount Weather is filled with human survivors
who can't go outside because of the radiation, which the 100 are resistant against from growing up on the Ark.
After meeting with President Dante Wallace, she just trusts him.
Back on the ground, Lincoln is captured by Reapers.
Man, that guy gets captured a lot.
Wait, what happened to all the people on the Ark that were sent to Earth?
A group of them survived that includes Abby and Kane, who reunite with Bellamy and Finn, who survived the fireball along with Raven and Murphy.
But there was a lot of distrust between the parties.
Back on the Ark, Jaha decides to go to Earth in a missile and crash lands in a desert.
R.I.P. Jaha.
Not so fast, he actually survives again.
At Mount Weather, Clark finds Anya being held with other grounded prisoners being used as human blood banks.
Their blood is being transferred into the residents of Mount Weather, which is how they keep alive with all the radiation.
She frees her and they both escape.
As for Lincoln, he's at Mount Weather?
We see him as a subject of experimentation, but for what?
Jaha is found by other people and told of a place called the City of Light.
But before he can learn more, he gets traded for a horse.
Meanwhile, Octavia reunites with Big Bro Bellamy and the others at the Ark camp when Clark and Anya,
who've made an alliance,
arrive too, but thinking they are grounded Grounders, the Ark soldiers shoot and kill Anya and knock out Clark.
R.I.P. Anya.
Clark and her mom are finally reunited, though, and it isn't a reunion that is very happy.
Clark tells them about the 47, but they won't let her leave to help.
Clark and crew escape and go after Finn and Murphy, who had previously escaped to go look for Clark.
Meanwhile, Kane tries to find peace with the Grounders, but gets imprisoned with Jaha?
Over at Mount Weather, the 47 seem to be doing fine, especially Jasper, who's got the hots for Mount Weather resident Maya.
She gets radiation exposure, so he volunteers his own blood to save her.
She later admits it was all a setup, and Jasper and the 47 want out of Mount Weather.
Elsewhere, Finn and Murphy hold an entire village hostage, convinced they have Clark.
Great, time for Murphy to do something to mess things up.
Actually, it's Finn who massacres most of the Grounders.
Oh, remember Lincoln's experimental thing?
Yeah, apparently it turned him into a Reaper.
The mountain people created the Reapers. Mind blown!
As for Jaha and Kane, they convince new Grounder boss Lexa that they're trustworthy.
She lets Jaha go to the Ark camp to tell them they've got 2 days to leave or they're dead.
Abby and Jaha argue over leaving to the City of Light or saving the kids in Mount Weather.
Abby wins and Jaha decides to leave for the City of Light with a small group, including Murphy.
Clark and company find the Reaper Lincoln, and with the help of Abby, they cure him.
Clark uses the fact that they can cure Reapers to strike peace with Lexa.
The only catch is that Finn has to be killed for murdering so many in the village.
Meanwhile, in Mount Weather, Dr. Singh,
Who might be a Cylon,
tells Wallace that Jasper's blood is his pathway to allowing the mountain people to survive outside for good.
all they have to do is use the 47's bone marrow, which would kill them.
Wallace isn't down with the plan, but his son
Who
Cage
forced Lincoln the Reaper drug and replaces Murphy of just being the worst.
goes behind his back and starts the harvesting,
Meanwhile, Finn gives himself up in exchange for peace, but Clark approaches him,
seemingly to rescue him.
but instead stabs him in the heart to avoid him suffering a barbaric execution.
A main character mercy killed by the main character of the show. Damn, this show plays with your emotions!
R.I.P. Finn, and R.I.P. Flark!
Abby is hesitant to trust the young Lexa, saying that the Grounders are being led by a child.
To which Kane responds, so are we, meaning Clark. Damn, we love Clark!
Truce time!
The ARC team starts training the Grounders to fight.
In the forest, Clark and Lexa run into King Kong.
Well, not really, but who knew there were giant gorillas on Earth now?
They escape and bond in the process.
Bellamy and Lincoln break into Mount Weather.
But Lincoln succumbs to the Reaper drug and Bellamy gets captured.
Meanwhile, Octavia,
Who's transformed from bratty little sister to badass warrior woman,
gets an offer by Indra
the leader of Lincoln's village.
to be her second and is accepted as a Grounder.
Maya discovers Bellamy and saves him, and Wallace stops the experiments.
But Cage throws his pops in confinement and makes himself president.
Meanwhile, Lexa organizes a conference with all Grounder tribes to join against Mount Weather.
Cage plans to destroy the conference with a missile attack.
Radioing in Bellamy, Clark and Raven overhear Cage's plan.
Knowing if they stop the meeting, Bellamy's cover will be blown, Clark makes a decision not to tell the Grounders.
He gets there in time to save Lexa.
But the village gets annihilated and Clark is guilt-stricken.
Clark devises a plan to get the 47 and the Grounders out of Mount Weather.
Lexa is impressed with her leadership, telling her she trusts her.
And shows it by kissing her?
Clexa? Oh, we ship it!
The plan includes disabling the acid fog that the mountain people use against their enemies.
Raven and her new guy Wick try to shut it down but get attacked, but Bellamy destroys the fog system in time.
Cage visits his father asking for help from the impending attack, but will he help him?
The Grounder Archer army finally get the front door to Mount Weather open.
And it's Grounder and Archer versus mountain people!
But Lexa tells the Grounders to stand down because she made a deal with Cage to free only the Grounders.
Turns out Wallace did help his son.
Clark is pissed.
He enters Mount Weather and kidnaps Wallace.
Cage refuses to stand down.
So Clark immediately shoots and kills his father!
R.I.P. Wallace.
Cage responds by beginning the bone marrow operation on Clark's captured mom.
Clark orders Monty to hack into Mount Weather's air filtration system to allow radiation in, but Cage thinks she's bluffing.
Clark surprises even many of us viewers and allows the radiation in, killing all of the residents.
Including innocent children and resistance fighters like Maya, and breaks Jasper's heart.
R.I.P. everyone from Mount Weather. Damn, the 100 goes there.
Cage escapes.
He encounters a now normal Lincoln who slices off his hand and injects him with the Reaper drug.
Oh, revenge is sweet, but is Cage dead?
Clark, dealing with what she's done, decides to leave the group and go off on her own.
But not before giving Bellamy a kiss on the cheek.
There's still hope, Bellark fans!
And when it comes to Jaha and his group, long story short, they barely avoid a minefield, follow a drone they find to an island, where Murphy finds a lighthouse with a recording of the previous occupants shooting themselves, and Jaha finds a mansion with an artificial intelligence who thanks him for the warhead from the missile he used to land.
What the heck is going on?
We're about to find out with the new season of The 100!
What has Clark been doing now that she's on her own?
What is the AI's plan for Jaha's nuclear warhead?
How many characters will we be shipping this season?
Will you be watching the new season of The 100? We know we'll be! Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Iron Prize!